Welcome to the episode 1 of our expert led playbook series, which is on mastering B2B webinars in 2025. Let me just start with a quick brief. Today, webinars are everywhere. Every organization is doing webinars, but most of them don't convert because, based on my experience, they are built for attendance and not outcomes. That is the perspective we are going to talk about today. Having hosted and supported dozens of B2B webinars myself, I've seen firsthand what separates a forgettable session from one that actually moves the needle. And it is rarely just about getting those big registration numbers. In this series, we are cutting through the noise to spotlight what truly drives pipeline. And we'll even unpack what has changed, what still works, and what doesn't, and how the most effective teams are adapting in 2025. In today's episode 1, we are kicking things off with one big thing, which is what makes a webinar convert in 2025. Joining me is Shambhavi, a senior manager, content and events at Springworks. She has been an expert in running different types of webinars and also has done some of the most effective webinars we've seen on Air Meet. So welcome to today's episode, Shambhavi.
Thank you so much, Prachi. It's my pleasure to be here.
Okay, so let's just kick off the big picture with the basic that what has changed in the world of B2B webinars in 2025. So let's zoom out, Shambhavi, for a second. A few years ago, if you had a speaker, a slide deck, and you could run a webinar and call it for a day. But we all know the bar is really high now. People just don't want to watch. They want to participate, challenge, comment, and even connect. So from your lens, from your experience, what shift are you seeing in the attendees' behavior during these webinars?
Yeah. So thank you so much, Prachi. I think that's a great question. Like you said a few years ago, something like that would have worked. But because of the fact that virtual webinars took off in such a way when COVID happened and there was a lot of virtual fatigue and the way our world has progressed, I think attention spans are just increasingly declining now. We're all plugged in, but we're moving really swiftly. So I think when it comes to webinars, you need to design for that. You either bring in just a topic and a speaker that you're confident about and you ensure retention, or you keep things short and quick. So in my experience, I think in the last couple of years, there's been like a curve. I was building webinars for 25 minutes last year, keep taking Q&A only if I felt that there was time for questions and if it was needed. But now that has changed. I've seen that I think that virtual fatigue has slightly expanded. Now we're in a new normal. So now I'm designing for more elaborate, breathable sessions that are longer and that have a lot of time for Q&A. So that's, I think, pretty much the change that I've seen in the last few years.
Great. And just saying it from the other lens, what I have seen firsthand, especially over the past few years, even the best speakers can't carry a webinar if it feels like one-way broadcast, because they also need that engagement, that talk through with the chats and see if even the attendees are listening and what they want to hear from them. All right, let's talk about formats. We both know that running a webinar today isn't just about filling a room. It's about what happens next. You've got a panel, you do demos, you do workshops or AMAs, but not all of them drive the same kind of intent. So from what you have seen, what kind of formats actually move the needle on pipeline or post-event conversations? Are there any that you have seen fail completely, even maybe you got good attendance?
So I think I'll start off with just using what you said as a segue in terms of what I think possibly didn't work, because I feel there's not a golden rule, but definitely the monologue, just one person speaking, no interaction, even though it's live kind of format just doesn't work. I think now it's not something that I would go. But I think format definitely depends on your goals, your target demographic, their habits, what is their persona. Like I said, not really a golden rule there. And our decision in choosing a format mostly tries to answer the question, why will my intended audience turn up for this? And if they do, why will they stay? And so I think that really helps us decide the format. Just to give quick two, three examples. For us, a masterclass format has worked really well. Some really deep research, a high sort of frequency, and a senior member leading it. A panel discussion has also worked really well for us in establishing ourselves as thought leaders. And a webinar, like your usual run-of-the-mill webinar, one leader, one moderator, and a good time for Q&A has also worked really well for us for our goal of community building. So I think that kind of explains that when you have a certain goal in mind, your webinar format can fit accordingly and help you achieve your goals. And yeah, that's pretty much the format that we use when it comes to thinking on format for webinars.
Great. Now let's talk about that. Not all the webinars are just meant to convert basis. What is the goal of that webinar? We have to define success different when it comes to the MOFU stage webinars. Now we're talking about education, deeper engagement, and getting that shortlisting there. At the bottom stage, MOFU, our goal is to get some demo interest, get those buying signals, and those direct conversion matters. So what is your take on these funnel stages? Do you think teams are defining this clearly enough? And how do you approach this goal setting when planning a webinar?
So I think that question also had a lot of information just in terms of how various stages can be approached. How we approach goal setting is it's more conceptual. It's just, again, by asking the why. I think just defining the why of anything at the onset. And this is something that I learned through working in education. But yeah, we start with the big question of why are we doing this and what do we want from it? Just some examples of what that could be like. So if we want to find out the TG for our product or for a new launch to see who's interested in this like micro field or category that our product operates in, which will be like a top of the funnel thing, that could be one kind of buy that we look at. Or if we already have a brand, a name, there's a community, and now we want to build that, we just want to use that network to achieve our goals. We could have a 40-minute fireside chat followed by a 10-minute demo because that trust is already there. We could have a masterclass. So I think MOFU POFU is covered in this sort of a format. So yeah, we start from the why and then just internal goals, which we quantify. So some numbers we set and then we go to the how. So what does the format look like? What can the content be like? What kind of CTAs are we using? And that's pretty much the process that we follow.
Okay, moving ahead now, this is one of those things that teams often realize a little too late, that the platform isn't just where your webinar happens. It shapes how you are taking attendee journey, their experience. I've seen webinars with great content even fall flat because the tech made it feel like just a broadcast, one-way conversation, and there is no engagement. From personalized event entry experiences to maybe interactive tools like the polls, Q&A, chats, and everything, the platform really plays an important role while doing a webinar. So based on your experience and all the webinars that you've hosted, how much does the tech impact the outcome? What features or maybe the platform setups have actually helped you drive that better engagement or convergence?
Definitely. I think tech is super powerful. It has really been instrumental and it's had like the biggest role to play in all the events that we've done. I think one challenge of event is the work that goes behind it. There's a lot of clunky manual work that I think most people who've done events would have seen. There's just too much. There's a lot of data and documentation. So one big tech addition, according to me, is just to have as much as possible everything in one place. So from your emails, your landing page, registrations, recordings, reports. So that life cycle, if you can have in one place, is possibly the biggest advantage that tech can give to the event space. The other is engagement, which is also an obvious thing, but a really big part of tech. And so engagement would have, like you said, your polls, chat, Q&A. And the third, if anything, would be an intuitive and dignified user experience, both in the end of the attendee and the speaker. And I don't know if a lot of people focus on this, but for me, that speaker experience, the attendee experience is extremely important. The event should also be a really meaningful experience. But yeah, so I think something in terms of just tech, something like a leaderboard, for example, if we were to talk about engagement, can really make a difference because attendees become more motivated to engage and it enhances their event experience. And I think One thing that has really helped me enhance that speaker experience is the backstage area in AirMeet. It's just professional, it's smooth, and it puts all speakers at ease because they get this opportunity for a tech check to just talk to each other. In previous tech platforms, we've seen that only the first event, let's say there were 2-3 webinars, only the first one would have the opportunity to have this background tech check. So I think just a very intuitive feature that way that has helped speakers have a really smooth experience. And yeah, so for me, I think these three things arenas in which tech has really made an impact when it comes to events.
One thing that I cannot agree more is on the speaker experience. And that's been one of the big focus for us at AirMeet as well when we launched this backstage. Just to make sure that the platform doesn't just host the webinar, creates an amazing experience for the one who is hosting as well, one who is speaking as well. And apart from that, other live interaction, personalized flows, filter questions, and all of those things are add-ons, which really make a difference. Now, one last angle I want to touch before we close this episode is the matrix. Webinars are often judged by registration numbers, but we know that it's not that simple. What matrix do you personally look at when you are assessing whether a session has worked or not for you?
Got it. I think a very important question, which has taken like a lot of learning to get to. I think number one is definitely registration to attendee conversion. So not looking at registration numbers, but looking at who actually showed up, who attended live, and whether that percentage is good. If it helps anyone, we look at anything from 25 to 30% as good. 40 to 50 would be gold standard, like a really good achievement. Then the second thing would be time in session. So on average, how long did people spend? Third would definitely be ratings. And so simple to get to. You launch a poll, you understand what the audience felt. It could also be a qualitative poll. The fourth would be attendee demographics, which would, of course, depend per situation, per context basis. But you could divide by role, by geography, and see whether you're being able to achieve your target intended audience. And fifth, for example, if you want to ask if you want to see if someone's interested in a demo, then polls. We just look at poll data. So I think these are the 5 metrics that we look at: registration to attendee, time in session, ratings, attendee demographics, and poll data.
Just to add that one shift that we have seen with the teams or the companies using AirMeet is how they just move beyond the surface level metrics, as you also mentioned, polls and all the other things. They've started tracking the poll participation, what is the live CTA clicks, and even how people behave in the chat, because those are the signals that tell you if you have actually sparked any real interest among the attendees. And when those insights get passed on to the sales or are used in the follow-up nurtures, that's when a webinar actually starts pulling its weight. This was the I'm so sorry, you were saying something?
No, I just said agree.
Okay, so this was the last section for episode 1, Shambhavi. Thank you so much. And I know it's going to help a lot of teams rethink how they approach to webinars in 2025. Huge thank you to everyone joining us today and to everyone watching. Don't miss the episode 2, where we will go deeper into how to choose the right format, story, and timing for your next webinar. See you in the episode 2.